Good evening. We are way past morning. Here we go. Good evening. I am thrilled to be here with you all tonight. And so proud to serve as the CEO of this incredible organization. Now, as we celebrate tonight, I first want to acknowledge someone very special to our community. John Toups was a leader in our region, a champion for NVFS, and a friend to us all. Now, please join me in remembering John, who passed away this year. His presence is felt tonight as we celebrate John's kindness and his passion and remember fondly his heartwarming giggle. We are so fortunate to have Nina Toups here with us tonight, and Jamie. Nina and John served together as our Gala chairs in 2010 and received our prestigious Legends of Northern Virginia Award. They have been unwavering champions on behalf of NVFS and the children that we serve. Nina, on behalf of the NVFS Board of Directors, the staff, and the Gala Committee, it is truly my honor to dedicate this 2019 Road to Independence Gala to John. The mic for Jay.
Microphone, thanks. My name is Jay Lambert, and I knew John Toups well, and I'd like to propose a toast to him. Not yet. If you want to know what John Toups was, many of you never knew him, got to talk with him. Think of the nicest person you've ever been around. I first met John in the 80s when he was president of PRC. I was county executive at that time, and I found him to be quiet, gentlemanly, honest, and direct. They're very hard to find, those qualities. John worked hard at PRC. They finally sold the company. And when he retired, he just shifted gears and went into helping others. Not that he hadn't been, but to really step up. He and his wife, Nina, did wonderful things for the George Mason University, Innova Health Systems, this group here, and a lot of people that you don't know and I don't know. So he was a great man. He was very modest, never wanted any credit, but I would have to say this personally. I can't value or even consider what he did for the people of Fairfax County. He and his wife were, and she is still, remarkable. To John Toups.
Jay, thank you so much. And Nina, thank you for carrying on John's legacy through your continued service and philanthropy. And so glad you can join us tonight. And thank you to all of our supporters. I truly am thrilled to be here with you tonight to celebrate the profound impact that Northern Virginia Family Service has on our region. I am so grateful. Hopefully you've met some of our incredible staff and our board members and our volunteers. The commitment and the expertise that you bring to NVFS every day is unbelievable. And I'm so appreciative of all of you, the generosity and the compassion of the donors here tonight and throughout our community and our community partners. Your support literally powers our impact. Now, whether you have supported NVFS for many years or this is your first opportunity to learn more about us, thank you so much for being here. We know that the needs in Northern Virginia are great and they're oftentimes hidden. For example, poverty afflicts over 85,000 children. 1 out of 15 people wakes up every morning not sure how they're going to feed their family that day. And while we do celebrate that our region has seen a 16% decline in the number of people experiencing homelessness over the past 5 years, still tonight there are 2,000 people who are homeless in our community. So in 1924, a small group of volunteers banded together to help meet their neighbors' most basic needs. And today, we have a team of 450 people and 6,000 volunteers. 95 years later, we serve more than 34,000 of our neighbors. From our homeless services, thank you. Thank you. From our homeless services to our multicultural center to our transformational workforce development program, NVFS is focused on creating opportunity, on building prosperity and fostering human potential. So just one of the many joys of being a part of this organization is seeing our impact in action. I was visiting our Head Start Center recently, and I met a 4-year-old little girl named Maddie. Maddie was having so much fun that day, playing on the playground with her friends. I could hear her giggles. I could see the joy on her face as she was jumping rope and climbing the jungle gym. And what I learned that day is that when Maddie first came to our program a year ago, she was struggling. She wasn't jumping or skipping with enthusiasm and confidence. She lacked the energy you'd expect from a child her age due to poor nutrition. So for families facing economic hardship and other hardships, Maddie's story is not uncommon. Many of the kids in our Head Start Center and our homeless shelters haven't had access to consistent, good nutrition, and they haven't developed the skills like jumping and balancing and skipping. And we know that play is fundamental. It's a fundamental part of childhood, and it is also a building block for future emotional and academic success. So for example, if a child can jump by the age of 3, that is a key indicator that the child will be more likely to read by 3rd grade. So getting to know Maddie and the other kids in our early childhood programs shows us that our investments are working. In fact, 94% of the kids in our programs graduate kindergarten ready, compared to only 66% of children across Virginia who enter school kindergarten ready. Our investments are working. And we are helping thousands of children like Maddie every year by providing them the support they need to build a brighter future. And we are providing critical resources throughout this region. Here are just a few. In this past year, NVFS led the Northern Virginia effort to serve federal and ancillary workers impacted by the prolonged government shutdown. We distributed critical financial assistance, food, and support, and helped thousands of our neighbors through their crisis. I am so proud, some of you have heard, but I'm still going to share. I am so proud to share with you that NVFS was recognized nationally as a high-performing, high-impact nonprofit leader. We were selected as one of only 24 nonprofits across the country, and the only one in Northern Virginia, to receive a grant from the Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos Family Fund. This grant is an investment. Thank you. This grant is an investment in our innovative, high-impact work, specifically to support our family shelter in Manassas, and it will accelerate our ability to develop solutions to ending family homelessness. In partnership with Loudoun County Public Schools, we are expanding our mental health services to youth and their families. We are building on our nationally recognized workforce development model and innovating new ways to increase our impact, remain future workforce focused, and bring our expertise into the labor market. To help support the critical connection between healthcare and good nutrition, we've expanded our partnership with a local health clinic to provide healthcare and wellness visits at our Hunger Resource Center. And soon, we will be launching a fruit and vegetable prescription program to provide healthy nourishment to our neighbors who are struggling with chronic medical issues, because we know that health and nutrition matter to overall well-being. And we are able to have this impact because of you. You do power our impact. Your support ensures that NVFS can continue to serve our region and break down barriers so that children and families can thrive and reach their fullest potential. Thank you so much for your support to help fund these critical services, and thank you so much for being here tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
So we're often asked, why do you support NVFS? For me, NVFS represents the work of a community to help everyone to rise up become independent and successful. I have a particular interest in NVFS because of my background in early education. Yet one of the things I value is that NVFS can offer more than one service to its clients. As we know, there's a connection between education and housing, food security, workforce development, and health that promotes long-term success for children and their families. NVF's broad footprint means it can support those in need across a spectrum of issues, regardless of how that person first connects to the organization. The history, over 90 years and counting, speaks to its stability and deep roots in the community. Well, maybe I can't. At the same time, the NVFS leadership is looking to the future to ensure that it can meet the needs of today and tomorrow. As a donor, I can be sure that resources are maximized and services achieve outcomes to build self-sufficiency and independence. The video you're about to see will allow you to hear from the clients and really see NVFS in action. Thank you.
Almost 3 years I was at home. And I was going through some depression. Always I was feeling eager to do something, to develop my career, to establish myself in this society.
Me sentí sola. Porque finalmente eso era como lo que estaba pasando en ese momento y sentí mucho miedo. Era una palabra muy grande para mí, diabetes. Pensé que mi niño se me iba a morir.
We're in need. Not much, but we need something to sustain us while I go to work every day. But I didn't know what else to do or where else to go.
I think I said no. I did not want to believe that we were at the point that we needed to accept any help, and I wanted to kind of keep our financial situation private.
Cuando finalmente encontré la solución fue porque se me abrieron las puertas yo digo que del cielo, y llegaron ángeles. En menos de una semana Emiliano ya tenía citas programadas con nutricionistas, citas programadas con endocrinólogo, y le estaban asegurando de nuevo tener todos sus supplies, todas las cosas para el manejo de su diabetes.
So we walked into the Hunger Resource Center in Manassas feeling very anxious and out of place. And from the moment I walked in, everybody was very welcoming, very caring, very kind. It made it feel like it was a safe place to be.
We walked away like it's okay to be helped. It's okay to ask to be helped and be in need.
They are not only the teacher or trainer, but also my friends, mentor, and part of family member I am. So that's how they helped me to believe on myself. I have ability, I have strong skills, I can do any kind of opportunity if anybody provide me.
So they wanted to be able to do something to help people who are affected by the government shutdown, and was just really grateful that I'd been willing to reach out and ask for help.
El cambio en nuestra vida ha sido completamente positivo. Todo ese desespero y esa angustia y esa sensación de no saber qué hacer a lo largo de todo este tiempo se ha convertido en, sí, yo no dejo de repetirlo, es una sensación de protección.
When I go in my community, people they feel I'm their role model. How I change my career in front of them, and they feel they want to do same thing.
When it's you, everything changes.
You just don't ever know when you're going to be the one in need.
Within 2 years, I changed my career a lot. And finally, last year, I bought one condo for my family, and finally I feel okay. I really did something for me.
Cuando usted apoya programas como NVFS, está aportando salud, dando una esperanza de vida a niños como mi hijo, como Emiliano, y a muchos otros niños y a muchas otras familias. Están tocando realmente vidas y les están garantizando que crezcan felices y sanos.
It is so important, the support that you have given us and continue to give to us, that allows us to work with families in our communities, no matter where they come to us, what stage in life they're in. Your support and your volunteerism, your donations, your time allows us to greet them where they are, help them with what they need, help them to identify ways to help themselves, and we move them on into the journey of being thriving members of the community. And your donations, your time make that happen. From the early childhood education to early intervention to the workforce development, our program is providing holistic, integrated supports that we believe that can break the intergenerational cycles of poverty, and that's something we believe in heavily. Mental health is a key driver across all of our programs, and especially for programs that you will hear about in a few minutes. The first is our Healthy Families program. It is our 2-generational program that seeks to prevent child abuse and neglect by working with first-time mothers to promote positive, nurturing, and responsive parenting. The second program you're going to hear about is sort of what happens when this doesn't happen in the beginning. It is our therapeutic foster care program. In this program, our service providers recruit, certify, train, and provide ongoing support for families that lovingly open their homes to care for children for whom at that time and for many reasons their home is not a safe place to be. I'd like to introduce you first to Bianca with Healthy Families. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bianca Molinari Añez, and I have the privilege of working as a bilingual mental health counselor in NVFS Healthy Families program. If there is one thing that you should know about me, is that I absolutely love my work. That might surprise you when I tell you that my job is counseling mothers who are experiencing postpartum depression. That might not sound like the most uplifting work, yet sharing my personal story might help you understand why I do what I do. I had just turned 30 years old when I learned I was pregnant with my first child. I had always wanted to be a mom, and I was so excited about being pregnant. I loved being pregnant. Bringing out our baby home was a special time, but it was definitely not what I was expecting. Of course, there were challenges like sleep deprivation, and I had a colicky baby. But there was something else. I started to feel isolated. I was sad, and even though I knew that my son was a blessing, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. I felt guilty about not being able to provide what my son needed. I felt guilty about not being happy all the time. I felt guilty about feeling guilty. But thank God for my husband, Alejandro, who helped me receive the mental health support that I needed. I had postpartum depression. Talking to a mental health professional literally brought sanity back to my life. My experience with postpartum depression made me learn that it was okay not to be okay. Little did I know that those difficult times would change my life in positive ways. I've always wanted to be a counselor and help people. And having postpartum depression provided a roadmap for how to do that. I got a master's degree in professional counseling, and I discovered my passion in working with underserved populations. Depression is an equal opportunity disease, and it can strike when you least expect it. That was certainly true for me, and that is certainly true for the women in our community. At NVFS, I work with mothers with postpartum depression. Many of them, like me, are from Latin America. I also have clients from the US, from Africa and Asia. They might be survivors of domestic abuse or community violence. Imagine now being in a new country, not speaking the language, without a support system, and add a new baby and depression to the mix, to those already existing feelings of isolation. And only then you can begin to understand how truly debilitating postpartum depression is for my clients. I think about my client Marta, who was depressed, and on her own, she developed panic attacks. She didn't have any confidence. She didn't know basic things like not letting her baby sleep on her stomach, or that grapes could be a choking hazard. Today, she's become more tranquil and motivated. While the voice in her head used to say, Marta, you cannot do this, it now says, yes, you can. And I keep telling her, if you feel like you're falling, it's okay. But it is important to get back up. I still remember the days when the voice in my head used to tell me, Bianca, you cannot do this. When I couldn't get out of bed, when I couldn't stop crying, when I couldn't take care of my son without taking care of myself first. I still get very emotional thinking about this. But 9 years later, those emotions are overshadowed by those of my clients who tell me how much strength they get from me. They tell me they wouldn't be able to get out of bed or take care of their children without my help. The women I work with who face more hardships than I will ever know, they tell me that I am their role model. But only if they knew they are my role models, my source of strength and my hope for the future. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to share my experience as a Northern Virginia Family Service foster parent. Many people have an incomplete understanding of foster care. Foster parents act as full-time caregivers until a child or children return to their parents or relatives, or a permanent plan is made. Foster parents work as part of a team to assist children in reaching their behavioral, emotional, developmental, or medical goals. That's the textbook definition. Now let me give you a glimpse into what it's really like. Being a foster parent is a painful, joyful, devastating, rewarding experience. To use a cliche, it's a roller coaster. I've never experienced anything else in my life that can be so continually heartbreaking and heartwarming all at the same time. I feel people often wonder, why would you want to take in kids who have experienced neglect and trauma, who come with lots of problems, who are quote unquote difficult, especially when you have 3 children of your own. What started as a wish of our youngest child, who was 5 at the time, desiring to have a younger sibling, has since become a passion for our entire family. If anything, our children are better people for being a part of a foster family. It's allowed us all to step out of our comfort zones and have a front row seat to the struggles of others in our community. The opioid epidemic is no longer something we read about in the paper. It's as real as the kids who come to us from families dealing with this and other forms of addiction, abuse, or homelessness. Most of our foster children have experienced some form of trauma and toxic stress. These children who have experienced so much disruption and disappointment in their lives, we feel it along with them. Every time meetings with their parents are canceled, every time they change schools and struggle to adapt. I feel angry and sad when I think about what these kids have had to endure. But their families are more than a sad story that make me angry. They are people I have come to know and care about and pray for. Many of them are simply repeating the patterns they experienced as children. We learned that one of our children would hide the car keys to prevent her alcoholic parents from driving. She kept a secret stash of money to pay for taxis when she didn't want to get in the car with them. One night during an argument, Dad pushed Mom down a flight of stairs. Who called 911? The child. I should note that she was in elementary school at the time. The mom went to the emergency room, Dad went to jail, and the child came to live with us. We foster children who are chronically homeless, going to school in dirty clothes without underwear or socks. One foster child came from a home whose family were hoarders, and the house was deemed a fire hazard. Another was being raised by a single mother who prostituted herself and partied all night. I so badly want to change the tapes that play over and over again in these kids' heads. The tape that tells them that they are unworthy and make them blind to their incredible value. As foster parents, we are not there to be the judge or the social workers or lawyers. We don't make decisions about their future. Our job is to provide a stable and safe home and love the children with all of our hearts. Reflecting on the past 8 years, the twin toddlers were among the kids who had the greatest impact on our family. Yes, we were foster parents to 15-month-old twins for a little over a year. They stayed up all night. They sucked the life out of us. I can't bear thinking about what they may have seen in their short lives. Yet as exhausting as the twins were, we were in such mourning when they left. Goodbye is hard. That will be true once again when we say goodbye to the 3 foster children currently living with us. A 2-month-old, a 17-month-old, and a 17-year-old. From the outside, I know my life looks a little crazy, and it is sometimes. I must confess, every time the phone rings about a new placement, my first reaction is to hyperventilate. But it's also true that our foster children, from the babies to the teenagers, have enriched our lives in ways I never could have imagined. As hard as it is, we are not alone. Northern Virginia Family Services' extraordinary staff has been on this journey along with us, providing a constant sounding board and invaluable resources. If we are the safety net for our foster kids, Northern Virginia Family Services is our safety net. Looking back, our foster children have driven me to near insanity and pushed me to my very depths, yet they are the beat of my heart, the pulse in my veins, and the energy in my soul. They are my kids. Thank you.